Since 2015, Jared Stillman has rocked Nashville sports.
That team freaking stinks.
And now he's back. The takes are hotter than ever.
I mean, let's be honest, he just can't coach.
Welcome to Stillman and Company.
Stillman & Company on the 440 Sports Network, presented by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, here live from Radio Row at Super Bowl 60. It's Friday. It's the last day. And I have to say this. I'm going home tonight. And in years past, when it has been the Super Bowl, I have stayed until Saturday. I wanted to party on Friday nights. And every year, when it would be Thursday, Friday, I'd be like, oh, why am I not going home on Friday? Everybody else is going home on Friday. And I would be, a little sad. And this year, at the beginning of the week, I was like, oh, man, am I going to miss something? I'm not going to be here on Friday for the parties at night and everything else. And you know what? I couldn't be happier to be going home. So that's just on me. Freaking loaded show today. Warren Moon sits down with us. We're going to talk about what he said to Cam. We're going to talk about how he feels about his jersey being unretired and Cam not having a great year with his jersey unretired. We're going to talk again. We're going to have Warren Moon. We're going to talk about how he feels about the state of the Titans and so on and so forth. Christopher Mad Dog Russo will join the program. That's right, Doggy. And I'm going to ask Doggy. I'm going to say to Dog, I'm going to say, hey. And by the way, Dog is doing this show because he was running out of time and they were saying, Dog may not be able to. They say, hey, Dog wants to do your show, which was a freaking honor. But Dog will be on the show. We're going to ask him about Saleh and Dable, we up in New York, what he feels about there. Geoff Schwartz going to join us, former NFL offensive lineman. He and I work a lot together on Sirius XM. I absolutely love him. We had him on. You guys said you loved him. And then we've got a special little surprise coming up on the program at the end, and then I'll make my Super Bowl picks. So a couple of quick thoughts I want to get to as we start the show. The first, I saw Jim Wyatt put up a story. I didn't read it, but Burke Nihill, the CEO of the Titans, is here in San Francisco or was here in San Francisco and was talking about what happens when we get a team or when we get our new stadium and we in Nashville get the Dome and the Super Bowl and everything else. And let me just say this. Nashville will do great hosting the Super Bowl. You know that. Nashville does well hosting all these events. This Super Bowl here in San Francisco fucking stinks. And I'm not here to bitch about San Francisco, which is absolutely filthy downtown, but a lot of downtowns are filthy. But I'm here to complain about the fact that the game's all the way over there and the media stuff is all the way over there and the Radio Row's over here. And that doesn't necessarily bother me. But as far as logistically speaking, this has no good feel like New Orleans had, certainly not like Vegas had. And I think I like Phoenix more, even though the stadium was all the way out there. Nashville will be much better than San Francisco. If we can have this, they're getting a second Super Bowl here in San Francisco. If we can have it in San Francisco, we absolutely can have it in Nashville and we'll be fine. So the idea of, hey, being in San Francisco, I don't want Burke Nihill getting ideas from here in San Francisco because I don't want him thinking, hey, you know what? This is the way it's supposed to be. Because this Super Bowl sucks. And this Radio Row space, it's tiny. And again, I complain and so on and so forth. Take number 2, second thing. And I know I pissed everybody in Boston off, and I'm okay with that. And I know I made a big deal about that after they made a big deal about what I said with the. I am a little nervous. Like, I am expecting Seattle to win the Super Bowl. But I am a little nervous because I am going to have to eat all that crow if New England wins and Mike Vrabel wins. And all the times that I pushed back on everybody who said the Titans were crazy to fire Vrabel. And I said, Vrabel's not that good of a coach. And I believe that. He's a good coach. He's not that good of a coach. But if you win the Super Bowl and you beat the Seattle team, it's going to be hard for me to argue that. So those are the first two things, and I'm getting a little nervous that I'm going to get absolutely take shamed by an entire region of the country. And the thing is I feel like Titan fans, because Caroline and I were talking about this a lot last night. Titan fans, I believe, know that in their hearts, Titan fans know it was time for Vrabel to go. Now, I'm sure there are some, the bro guys that are like, we should have never fired Vrabel. And I'm sure there are some Titan fans that are like, look at where Vrabel is and look at where you are. First of all, the fact that Mike Vrabel had to go doesn't change anything. He never would have had Josh McDaniels as his offensive coordinator or Drake May as his quarterback. But the second thing is, I think what we're overlooking is we look at what the Titans are doing and we say, oh, well, the Titans suck and they shouldn't have fired Vrabel. Brian Callahan was a dumbass. That has nothing to do with Vrabel. But, again, I know scoreboards matter and optics matter, and so don't lose this, Seattle. Don't do it. Those are the first two takes. Okay, let's get right to the juice. Warren Moon, NFL Hall of Famer, former Houston Oiler, unretired his number. He joins us right now here from Radio Row at the Super Bowl. The greatest quarterback in Titans Oilers history. That is one Warren Moon. Warren, thank you. First of all, it's always good to see you here at the Super Bowl. It's always good to have you on. Thank you for stopping by. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How about yourself? This is an exciting time. It's the biggest sporting event in maybe the world, and this is where it all gets started here on Radio Row.
Warren, Titans stink. I think that's the first thing. The second thing is I was very upset when they unretired your number for Cam Ward. Even though you were okay with it, my reaction when I even heard the chatter before it happened, when people said, well, would they unretire Warren Moon's number for Cam Ward? I said, no. That is Warren fucking Moon. I was like, that guy he's a legend. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a gold jacket guy. I said, we don't retire numbers to unretire them. And if I was the general manager of the team and Cam said, hey, I think would there be any way that Warren would unretire? I'd say, no, don't even call Warren. Warren, I'm serious. I would say have the respect for Warren to not even call and ask. But Cam called, Cam asked, you said yes. Everybody got mad at me because they were like, if Warren's okay with it, you should be okay with it. I was not okay with it. And then I got to say, we hope it all works out. But I worry about if it doesn't work out, then you unretired a number for somebody that didn't work out. It's Warren Moon. Your thoughts?
Here's my counter. I unretired the number, but not the jersey. I wore the Houston Oilers jersey. He's wearing the Tennessee Titans jersey. So he's really not taking my jersey and wearing my number. He's wearing the Tennessee Titans jersey, number 1, that happens to be my number when I was with the Oilers. So I don't look at it as apples and apples. I think he's going to be really good with that number. I think he's going to do some great things, and I felt like he has the opportunity to make his own legacy out of that number, even though it's not my jersey. Now, if they ever wore the Oilers jerseys again and he had to wear number 1, now we might have a decision to make. But other than that, I don't look at it as the same jersey.
I do.
Because there's a lot of numbers that were worn by Oilers that are worn by Titans.
I know, but I look at it because the first game I ever went to was a Tennessee Oilers game at Vanderbilt. That was the Oilers. When the people at Houston sit there and they say, hey, we should have the Oilers jerseys, I'm like, fuck you. That belongs to the Tennessee Titans. Maybe it's because I did work with Floyd for so long, and I know how important both Houston and Nashville were to him and to Sally, and I know to the Adams family how important it is. But, I mean, the way I look at it, every time you come on this show here in Nashville, I'm always like, we want to have Warren on because Warren is the greatest quarterback in the history of the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans. I mean that.
Well, I wish that was the case, but it's Tennessee Titans / Houston Oilers. I never played in that stadium. I never played in front of those fans, but I definitely have a relationship with the organization. There's no question about it, and I feel like I'm a part of that organization, but I just don't feel like it's because the uniforms were different, the names were different, the numbers different.
How do you feel about Cam? This year, what I worried about when they drafted him was I worried about what I would say like ruining the quarterback, the organization setting the quarterback up to fail. And when you fire the coach 6 games into the season and you bring in a new coach and a new scheme and you're already setting the quarterback back. No matter what you want to say, there is a little bit of a setback there. So I ask you what you've seen of Cam on the field, what you saw of the first year and everything. Do you feel as if Cam may be set up for failure or that it's going to be a tough hurdle for Cam to overcome? How do you feel about Cam?
I don't know if they brought him in to set him up to fail. I don't think they went into the season saying we're going to fire this coach after so many games. The way the team was playing and everything, that set the coach up for the firing, and Cam was part of that. He had to suffer from that, and it's unfortunate that a young quarterback come into a team that's not as talented as you want it to be. But that's usually what happens when you go to a team with the number 1 overall pick. It's not a very good team. That's why they get the number 1 overall pick. So it was a setback for him, but I thought he finished the season pretty strong. And I like what Robert Saleh is doing as far as the staff that he's putting together. And I think with Brian Daboll taking over as his offensive coordinator, he's going to really figure out the best way to utilize him, and I think he's going to have success. The key, though, is to put the right pieces around him, and that's what they have free agency for. That's what they have the draft for. So hopefully they can make some really good decisions in those 2 areas, and this team will start to improve very quickly because there's no question he didn't have the right tools in order to be successful last year, but I think they're not that far away as far as building pieces around him to make him better.
When the team started off 0-4, Cam was asked about the team, and he made the infamous "we asked" comments. And it came out, I think, on the CBS broadcast the next week that you called Cam.
Yeah.
There were a lot of fans who, when Cam said it, said, good, somebody here is stepping up and is saying what needs to be said. There were a lot of people that didn't like it, including guys in that locker room that didn't like it.
Right.
Why did you feel the need to call Cam, and what was kind of the tenor of what you told Cam in that moment?
Basically, I told him that I know you're frustrated because, you're losing and you're a competitor. You're a guy that likes perfection in your play. That's why you work so hard. But there's a certain way you need to talk to the media. There's a certain way you need to talk to the public to get your point across without being insulting. So that was basically what I said. There's a way to say what you said in a much kinder, classier way.
How would you describe the relationship between you and Cam? Because, Cam's a younger guy. He probably doesn't remember when you played. But, again, you're Warren Moon.
I think he respects me, and I think a lot of that comes from his dad because his dad kind of knew me more than he did, but his dad kind of tells him about who I was and what I did when I played. I think our relationship will get closer. I wanted to let him get his feet wet, come into the league, let him know that I was there for him if he needed me as a sounding board. When he made those comments, I reached out to him. There wasn't a whole lot of times I was reaching out to him throughout the year because I didn't want to be like that hovering type of guy, but I wanted him to know that I was there for him. So I think our relationship will get closer as time moves along, especially this second off season. He'll have a chance to really regroup, see what he went through that first year in the NFL. It's been a long year for him going through his last year at Miami, going through the draft process, going through the combines and all the different things that he had to go through, then right into mini camp. And next thing you know, he's going through a 17-game season. So it's been a long year. So hopefully he'll get away from it, really kind of look and reassess everything that happened this last year and come back with a better frame of mind. Warren,
when it comes to Amy, she's been criticized a lot by the fans. I hate criticizing Amy because I know the kind of person Amy is. When Bull got sick, I reached out to the Titans and said, hey, he's sick. So if you're going to put him in, you need to do it now. And Amy immediately put him in the Ring of Honor, called him before he passed away. And that meant a lot to me, about the kind of person she is, even if I disagree with some of her football decisions. Eddie kind of called out Amy a little bit, about some of the decisions she's made. And I talked to Keith Bullock about it yesterday on the show. And Keith was like, I'm glad Eddie did that because you can say whatever a former player says, well, but that's Eddie George. And there are very few people that have that kind of respect and gravitas. Right. You're one of them. So when it comes, I know you've got a relationship with Amy, and I know how much you value the Oilers bridge that Amy has put out there. When it comes to your assessment of the team and your assessment of Amy, how do you look at it through that lens of knowing that, hey, I know you want the Titans to do better than they're doing. She wants them to do better too. Felt the need to say something. How do you feel about kind of that vibe between you and Amy and the organization and where we all want it to be?
Well, that's the thing. We all want the same thing. We want the organization to be at the top, like it was, many years ago when Eddie George was there and when Steve McNair and those guys were there, going to Super Bowls and going to AFC Championship games. That we all want that back, but you have to have sometimes a little bit more patience in certain areas to make that happen. And if there's any criticism, maybe some of those decisions were made too quickly. Other than that, it's only because she wants the best for the football team. She wants the best for the organization as fast as she can possibly get it. And making changes all the time isn't always the best way to do it, but I think that's the reason why it happens. Now, should she have a little bit more patience in certain areas? Maybe so. But I think it's all being done for the right reasons, not the wrong reasons.
I do. John Robinson said something about Amy, and I mean, she fired him. And he said, hey, she loves the Titans and she wants to win.
No question.
And as somebody that knows her, I mean, fans will say, oh, no, they don't care. They just care about the new stadium and the money. I don't believe that.
No.
Because I know, again, if you cared about the money, you wouldn't fire people all the time because then you have to pay them when you fire them. When it comes to your interactions with Amy, I mean, I guess I would say, like, explain to the fans how much you feel like she cares about the organization and putting something out there that her dad would be proud of.
Well, again, that's just what I was talking about, that she wants the best for this organization and trying to figure out the best way to do it. That's what she's trying to figure out. I've known Amy since she was a young girl growing up with her dad in Houston with the team. And she loved that football team, the Houston Oilers, and she feels the same way about the Tennessee Titans. She just wants the best for that football team. But like I said, sometimes you make hasty decisions because you want to improve in that area because you think you need to improve in that area faster or whatever. But it's all for the right reasons. Now, you can always go back and look and see some of the decisions you made. Hopefully she's reassessing everything that she's done and figuring out maybe I shouldn't have did this here, maybe I should have did this here. And then you go from there. But I think everything she's doing is in trying to make this football team the best football team it can be, and the organization the best organization it can be. Just like bringing in a new stadium. Did they need a new stadium? Yeah, probably, but they didn't have to. But she wants a new stadium for Nashville. She wants that whole entertainment area down there for Nashville. Sure, they'll make more money, but it also benefits the citizens of Nashville. So people have to look at it that way, that this lady has everything she needs and everything she wants. But the things that she's doing right now is because of the legacy that her father left behind, and also she wants to do what's best for Nashville, the city.
I want you to know this. Floyd Reese, and I know he's not with us anymore, he did not cut you or trade you or whatever it was because he thought Cody Carlson was better. He did it because the salary cap was coming in.
I understand.
And they didn't have any money. I just want you to know that because he loved you. And
I told him I knew the reason he was letting me go because of salary cap. But I also told him that I would my career would continue to be successful, and it was.
Tell us about the fatherhood campaign quickly.
Well, it's the Fatherhood of Champions campaign through the NFL alumni that I'm representing, and it's basically a program that we want to help fathers become better fathers. We want to help fathers connect better with their kids, connect better with their families. We want to make sure that they're doing all the right things and have all the right tools to make that happen, because statistics show that when there's not a father in the home, a lot of kids grow up in poverty and different things like that. I grew up without a dad, so it was important for me to make sure I was in my kids' lives growing up the whole time, because I know the hole that I have in my heart for not having a dad after my games or to talk to when I needed somebody to talk to from a man's standpoint. My mom did a great job, but she wasn't my dad. So I want to make sure that dads have all the different tools to be the best dads they could possibly be to their young ones.
My son, by the way, Jackson Reese Stillman.
Really?
Named after Floyd.
All right.
Warren, thank you, buddy. Always good to see you. Warren Moon here on the program. We continue. Thank you to Warren Moon. I really enjoyed that one. Coming up next right now, Christopher Mad Dog Russo, Sirius XM Mad Dog Unleashed. I, of course, am on his channel on Sirius XM, and he's on First Take with Stephen A. Smith. Here's my conversation with Mad Dog Russo. Joined now by the man, the legend, Christopher Mad Dog Russo.
How are you, buddy?
It's
nice
good
to see you.
It's good to see you, Doggy. You know, Doggy, I always tell Alan White Plains when he calls me when I'm on your channel, I always say the legend Alan White Plains because I saw him in your documentary. So if he's a legend, what's that make you?
Well, let's not go crazy. Alfred's a good call, though, and he's a very good sports fan, and he's got a good history thought to him. The only thing I don't understand with Al is he loves the Ravens, and he's a Browns fan originally. And he loves the Ravens now because they came from Cleveland, but he didn't readopt the Browns when they moved back to Cleveland. They were given an expansion team. Other than that, Al's a tremendous sports fan, and he's been a loyal fan for a long period of time.
That's enough time on Al.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay, Robert Saleh to the Titans. I want to start there. Was it all a jet clown show that it didn't work out there?
Yeah, I think it's been proved that you can't blame Saleh. First off, he did a great job with the Niner defense this year. Woody Johnson is a guy who does not deserve the benefit of the doubt. Now, again, at the time, I understood what Woody was doing. You know, older guy, Rodgers, you got to win. I understood it, so I don't want to come across being one of those guys that I supported Saleh when, in fact, Woody fired him. But in hindsight, it was a mistake. Saleh deserved a better go. Aaron Glenn is awful. So from that standpoint, I was happy to see Saleh get a second chance, and I think Dable will do a good job there with Cam Ward.
That's exactly.
So I think that combination will work. I really do.
So on Dable, what do you make of him as an offensive coach? Forget about head coach, but as an offensive coach.
I think Dable, at the end of the day, will get another crack at this. He did win with Daniel Jones his first year. They were very unlucky this year with a lot of bad luck. Now, listen, they blew leads all over the place, so you can make an argument that Dable's responsible there. They had lost 1 million games the last 2 years. But I think Dable, everybody swears by him, says he's a great guy. I think Dable will get another crack at this. He wanted to draft Dart. They did. Dart looks to be a pretty good young quarterback. He's a little Hollywoodish for me. I saw him come into the Sirius XM studios yesterday. He had a huge entourage, which drove me crazy. Really?
For a rookie quarterback?
Really? Come in quietly by yourself. Jeez. But the bottom line is I do think that you will see Dable eventually get another shot in the NFL.
Okay, I got to ask. Nashville for both the Major League Baseball expansion when that happens.
Which they get a team.
And the Super Bowl, which we're
and I think that will happen too. I think both are going to happen. Now, is that going to be built a retractable roof?
No, it's just going to have a regular roof.
Oh, it's going to be indoors, though?
Yep.
Okay. They're off the retractable roofs now. It's too much money. Yeah, I definitely think Nashville, it's a great town. It's got, everybody would love to go there. They're not going to worry so much about the weather if it's indoors. They will definitely get in a Super Bowl. No question about it. Whether it be in my lifetime, it's going to take, 8-9 years. But I do think they get a Super Bowl, and I do think that they will get a baseball team. I think you will see by the time Manfred leaves in 29, and he is going to leave. By the time Manfred leaves in 2029, I think you will see an announcement that whatever year it might be, there will be 2 new teams in baseball, and I think Salt Lake City and Nashville will be the 2 teams.
Okay, I have to ask you when it comes to Vrabel, because everybody is treating Vrabel like that the Titans were so stupid to fire him, which maybe they were.
Yep.
But like he's the sole reason the Patriots are here in the Super Bowl. Did Joe Torre get that kind of credit his first year when the Yankees won the World Series? Yeah, I got to give
credit too. Yeah, Joe did not because the Yankees were good the year before. In 94, they were a very, very good team. And in 95, they made the playoffs. And then Torre took them to the next level. They lost to the Mariners in that classic 5th game when, of course, Griffey ran around the bases. So from that standpoint, it's a little different. And Vrabel obviously has got May, which is a helpful thing. They had a lot of money under the cap. But Vrabel's an adult in the room. He's a good coach. Tennessee should not have fired him. He never had a great quarterback, Ryan Tannehill. We've discussed this before.
We have.
He will, and he'll keep this game close there on Sunday. I don't know if they're going to win, but he'll keep the game relatively competitive on Sunday afternoon. I do think Seattle's better. I think they got a better team, top to bottom. I expect Donald to be pretty good in the game. He's been good throughout the postseason. I expect a good performance, and I think for the Patriots to have a chance to win, Donald's going to have to throw a couple of interceptions. They need to steal a possession or 2. They did it against the Chargers. They did it against Houston, of course, with Stroud.
Well, he was crapping the ball out his rear end.
Terrible. And then Stidham had, 2 turnovers, and, of course, he didn't kick the field goal. So I think that you will see a situation where if Darnold gives up the ball a couple of times, the Patriots have a chance. But that's what's going to have to happen for New England to have a chance to win a game.
Last one for you, dog. I went over on Boston radio on Monday on Felger and Maz, and I pissed the entire New England region off because I said the Super Bowl was played in Seattle between the Rams and the Seahawks.
I agree with that.
And I said that this Patriots team, in comparison, it's like the 2006 Bears. That was a good football team. It wasn't good enough to beat Peyton Manning and the Colts or Brady and the Patriots if that was who they were going to play. I feel the same way about this Patriots team. And now the entire New England area has run that I said that Drake May was Rex Grossman.
Well, they're wrong with that. And we know that May's better. But I like
sure.
the comparison. I think there is something to it with the Patriots. I mean, they beat the Bills in Buffalo. They beat Tampa in Tampa, and they beat the Ravens in Baltimore. Ravens were 8-9, Bucks were 8-9, and the Bills got knocked out in the second round. So, and they beat the Chargers at home, and Herbert was terrible, and the offensive line. We just talked Stroud, and Stidham stunk. So, I mean, he didn't stink, but the whole deal, the weather and everything else. So, I think that's a very fair comparison. I think you can make that comment. And so you like Seattle. I kind of like Seattle, too. I would pick Seattle to win. But, listen, it's hard to take Seattle with the 4.5 points because you never know in these games.
Sure.
It's hard to take it.
Dog, always good to see you, man.
Good job.
Hey, thank you for having me on your station.
Anytime.
And
I know they love you. You do a good job.
Well,
and you've been a good talk show host in Nashville for a long time.
I appreciate that. Dog, man, it's always good to see you.
Good job.
Thanks, brother.
See ya.
Special thanks to Doggy. Again, he wasn't scheduled to do that spot, and he was scheduled to be on his way, and Dog said, no. I got to do Jared's show, and I really, really do appreciate that. I appreciate all of the kind words that he said there at the end. Okay, Geoff Schwartz came on our show during the season. He and I have done a lot of work together on Dog's channel. Geoff Schwartz, what's he got to say about the Titans? Geoff Schwartz, and honestly, getting a little tired because of how long we've been out, how long we've been out here, how long we've been. Geoff Schwartz joins us now. With former NFL offensive lineman Geoff Schwartz. Geoff Schwartz also hosts a podcast. Geoff Schwartz also hosts another podcast. Geoff Schwartz can also be heard on Fox Sports Radio. Geoff Schwartz can also be heard on Sirius XM NFL Radio and Sirius XM Mad Dog Radio. And did I miss anything?
I write for Fox Sports as well.
Oh, he writes for Fox Sports as well.
Yeah.
And now when you hear Geoff on Sirius XM Mad Dog Radio, it's usually with me.
It's with you. It's only with you now.
It's crazy. It was during the summer. And apparently, all the morning show guys just decided they were going to take off 3 weeks at a time.
Yes.
And they were like, all right, Jared, you're in. And so half the days I was with Caroline, the other half the days I was with you. And this is true. Geoff Schwartz and I met on Zoom at 4:50 in the morning for a 5 a.m. show. And it was like, all right, hey, we're going to work together. And
what time do you wake up for that show?
So I used to wake up at 4 a.m. for that show. Now I wake up closer to 4:30.
Yeah.
And I think some of that is my comfort of doing a show with you because I know, hey, Geoff and I can kind of bullshit around a little bit and it doesn't have to be.
The night before, though, we do, you do, for those type of shows, you prepare the night when you go to bed. Before you go to sleep, you have a general idea of what you're doing. You hope there's no news overnight. If there is, it's typically big enough where you can cover it. And then, of course, you get, I'm up at 5:30 for 6 a.m. Yeah.
And I would say this, I talk about how he and I started working together, and I felt like, there was really an instant connection. Like the second day we were working together, I was like, there's something between this. There was a day, I want to say it was Christmas Day. It might have been Christmas Day. It might have been Christmas Eve day, where we start the show at 5 a.m. And I go to wind up to start the show. And I'm like, all right, live in Nashville. And there was nothing there. And it just squeaked out of my throat. And I looked at you and I was like, dude, you're going to have to. You're going to.
You were sick that day.
Well, we found out it was that my house was too dry. We had to get a humidifier. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, Electricals, the proud presenting sponsor of this program. I actually had them come and look about installing a humidifier because our house is too dry. So we just put humidifiers now in our bedroom and in Jack's bedroom. But the house was too dry, and I was getting baby sick. And
in the winter, my house is too dry too. We put a humidifier in the bedroom to sleep at night because it makes a lot of sense to do that. Obviously, wake up in the morning. The thing about this thing is we were out last night for a while. I was worried my voice was going to be shot by the time we got to even doing this. But I worked it this morning. I got radio this afternoon because you come to an event like this, you just talk forever and ever and ever and eat dumplings and whatever we had last night. The food was good last night.
Food was good last night. The other thing too is I do hate this because I'm not going to sit there and go to like all the executives at the different places that we know and say, hey, like Geoff and I should be hosting a show every day on your network. But I do want to do that.
I have talked to a lot of people about that. Like I've talked to people at Westwood One so far, obviously at Sirius, at Fox Sports Radio. Those are basically the three like big ones.
Sure.
That outside of obviously if you're an ESPN employee, you do ESPN Radio. You have to look. It's different for me because in football you basically have a job or not based on what you do in the field. There's no like shaking someone's hand and asking them for a job. Essentially, here it's a meat market. Like you're just like, hey man, like remember I still work for you?
Yeah.
Like think about me instead of hiring the same guy you keep hiring every single time. So how about the new voices that you claim you want to hire, but you hire the same people every single time? So I feel awkward doing that, especially like last night, you couldn't hear anything at that freaking party.
Yeah.
And you're trying to have these discussions with people that are important. And they're also, there's some, they've been drinking a little bit, of course. They're allowed to wind down. And do they remember like what we talked about the next morning? So I actually think it's better to do it today, like at Radio Row.
Doing it where you're like just
have those meetings. So I've talked to people about it. It's the industries, man. It is what it is. It's a difficult industry. And, people chase those big names. They chase, I think, sometimes less quality for bigger names.
All right, let's get to the Titans here. They stink. Robert Saleh is now the coach.
Yeah.
I kept telling you right around Christmas, I was like, Matt Nagy's going to be the next coach of the Titans.
Yeah.
And you were not for that.
No.
And you were in Kansas City. So you don't really know Matt Nagy because he was the quarterback's coach and you were an offensive lineman, but you probably know enough of Matt Nagy that you were like, do not hire Matt Nagy. They didn't hire Matt Nagy. They hired Saleh. Your reaction?
Well, look, Saleh's getting a second opportunity, obviously. I do think it's fair to look at his first tenure with the Jets and think like they just stink. Like no one can win there. He did the best he could, and you would learn a lot, I think, from that experience to take to Tennessee. But I think his most important hire was Brian Daboll. Like, I think Brian Daboll's good as a play caller. He don't have to do coaching responsibilities anymore. And I think it's not always the case, but I do think that like if you're a defensive guy like Saleh is, hiring almost like a head coach of the offense and letting Brian Daboll run the offense. I think Saleh says he's calling plays, right? He's going to call plays at least early on defense, and then being the CEO guy for the team allows you the opportunity to focus more on maybe in-game stuff and preparing for that. Obviously, the play calling and then letting Daboll handle the offense. Daboll's been good as an OC. Good last year. The problem, obviously, last year was that Jackson Dart just got hit too much, and you got to figure out a way to not have that happen to Cam Ward.
I think Jackson Dart, the way he plays, it kind of reminds me of Will Levis. Like,
correct, exactly.
That I'm gonna fucking take that guy on.
And Cam Ward doesn't run.
No, so I don't worry about that.
I wouldn't either. There's a number of games where I thought Tennessee. I bet Cam Ward over this year rushing like 8.5 yards against a team with a good pass rush. He just didn't run the ball. He never runs. He doesn't really run. He can. It's not his game. I actually like that. I think that's a better way to start your career and then work into rushing the football because you feel more comfortable.
Do you think Cam Ward is going to be a franchise quarterback? Because Titan fans are convinced.
What does that mean? Like, is he a franchise quarterback like Tua is? Or
no.
Is?
Yes, Mahomes, an elite franchise, elevating quarterback. The kind of when you draft a quarterback number 1 overall, I feel like you dream in your heart that my quarterback is going to be this kind of guy.
We'll know pretty soon, right? Because we saw year 2 Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams. Like you saw that sort of immediately. You knew yes or no pretty quickly. I just think it's about Cam Ward. He has not played a lot of quarterback in an actual pro-style offense. It's basically 2 years now, right? Miami, and then obviously last year in Tennessee, in a year that just with a bad offense. I mean, you didn't like Callahan from the beginning. We talked about this a lot in the summer. Like you didn't. So now he gets a real chance with a real OC, get some weapons around him. If you're asking me whether or not I think he's like in that class of tier 1 or maybe 2 quarterback, probably not. I don't think he's going to be a bust, though. I mean, the hard part is those middle tier, right? Like the guys that you sort of feel like you have to pay because but you really
that's what I'm afraid he's going to be.
Yeah, and those are the guys like
Kyler
Murray's, those guys like that. He has a skill set. He's just got to hone it in, man. It's possible. I think it's hard to just predict every quarterback's going to be a home run, you know?
When it comes to the Titans, it's kind of a weird thing when I'm out here because, you know, I was in the elevator at the hotel yesterday with Kyle Brandt. And Kyle Brandt, you know, gets really animated about the Titans sometimes. And Titan fans eat that shit up because nobody ever talked about the Titans.
Yep.
And he and I were talking, and he's like, this was the most untalked about number one quarterback I've ever seen in my life.
Absolutely right.
And talking about Cam.
Sure.
And I guess I look at it like, I think that's a good thing. I hated it as a kid. You know, as a kid, I wanted ESPN to talk about the Titans all the time. But I actually think it's kind of a good thing. Like, I think it's a good thing for Robert Saleh that he's not in New York anymore. I think it's a good thing for Cam Ward that by every metric, he stunk last year. Now, was that the offense's fault? Was that the coach's fault? Was that I don't know. I think being in Tennessee sometimes is a good thing for kind of growing this thing. And yet it feels like the Titans just perpetually suck.
Well, you haven't had a franchise quarterback. I mean, that's right since McNair, essentially. I mean,
Pretty much. I mean, Tannehill was nice.
She was fine, but it was a year or two, right? It was so reliant on the Henry run game that it felt one-dimensional in the postseason, right? That's the problem.
It was so reliant on Arthur Smith that those 2 years.
And Mike Vrabel being a really good coach.
Coaching him up. Well, Vrabel was a good coach after that, and the offense wasn't very good without Arthur Smith.
So, you know, it's a thing. Look, I live in the South in Charlotte. Like, just the attention to NFL is just not quite the same in that part of the country. And I think that both South divisions just sort of go under talked about throughout the season. They're not as dynamic normally. It's produced what? Super Bowl champion, Tampa's won 2, Saints have won 1.
Indy has won 1.
It is 1. That's
Houston, Jacksonville, Tennessee have not won.
Carolina hasn't won.
Carolina hasn't won. Atlanta hasn't won. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like that. It's not. It just doesn't produce a lot of Super Bowls. So I get why it's one of those where people sort of forget about because they talk so much college football. It's fun as we do this to look around and see like these celebrities walking by and seeing like who's popular, who's not,
who's got an entourage. I've actually thought about this. Like,
if you paid for entourage for this event and people follow you, they think you're important.
You know what's kind of crazy? Like, if I blew up and it was like, hey, all these places want, you know, kind of like how the Boston show loves getting me on because they know I'll stir shit up. If everybody was like that, where I had to like take a day, where I had to like do the rounds and whatever, I mean, I probably would have one person with me. I don't think I would need I've
done like 25 in a day before. And you just like, you know, Debbie trails me or someone or one of our assistants follows you around. It's hard to find the table numbers. This one's a little more. You actually have a map of the tables, which is nice. They never used to have that. And so you finding where you have and being on time, like being like, you know, like, okay, like someone's got, hey man, like that, come on, like that's it, like you're done. Like if you have a lot of those in a day, then you need someone to help you do that.
Sure. I mean, I think Warren Moon had like 3 people with him. And I feel like Warren's, you know, good enough to have 3 people with him.
Well, also too, a lot of the big dogs have a brand partner that travels with them.
Right, where they're like, oh, yeah, here's Johnny to talk about fucking Charmin toilet paper.
Correct. And so, like, I saw, like, Carissa Thompson and Rob Gronkowski for Bounty. Like, they're just walking around with people from Bounty following them behind them.
How much do you think, like, Gronk gets paid to do that?
Oh, some six-figure number.
You got to be shitting me. So to do, like, 20 interviews and talk about paper towels, Gronk's making, like, $200,000.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck. How do we get that job?
We're not Gronkowski.
I know, but
never going to happen.
You know, okay, so take a guy like Stephen A, right? Stephen A doesn't do that. Like, he's not going around pumping some product,
probably
but Stephen A could probably get $200,000.
Stephen A also makes $20 million a year. I don't think Gronk makes $20 million a year. He's made a lot of money in his career, obviously. But look, you think Gronk's already going to be here anyway, so might as well get paid to be here. So
that is true.
He had Cams yesterday on top of him, like trying to give him a chokeout maneuver. He's living the life.
The party we went to last night was one of the most packed parties.
It was ridiculous.
Oh, by the way, I think I'm going to tell this story. So last night, probably right around the time that you left, 2 things happened.
Okay.
2 things happened at the same time.
Your dog on your phone and not your kid?
Well, I mean, this is from like 15 years ago, and I haven't changed it. I don't care about it. But so Jeff and I met up at one like happy hour, and then we walked from the happy hour uphill for 20 minutes. Like
I walked all the way back to my hotel, by the way. I walked 6 miles yesterday.
I walked 8.
There you go.
So
good workout.
Up a giant hill.
Yeah.
Jeff and I walked, and we ended up at this party last night, and it was the most packed party.
Loud
you
too.
could not move, you could not whatever. But like right around then, both my feet and my back started really hurting. Like my back started locking up, and I didn't want to look like, kind of the chubby guy whose back is hurt. Like, oh, my back, oh my God. But my feet, what's that?
You go sit down?
Not really.
Yeah.
No, I actually ended up at the Club Shay Shay party. Shannon Sharp had a party, and
how was that?
It was cool. Shannon and I bro hugged because I told him that I was friends with Les Steckel, the old Titans offensive coordinator, who was his tight ends coach in Denver. And Shannon was like, that's my guy. You make sure you tell him that that's my guy. I was like, Shannon, you're my guy. Not guilty.
Him and Ocho sometimes say that when Ocho did the whole thing about having been in Charlotte before, and they said he called Raleigh, the city Raleigh. It was the funny dude. It was so funny. That show. Oh,
so my feet were freaking killing me.
Yeah.
So we were I think was right after you left. So I'm talking to Annie Agar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's me, Annie Agar, Caroline, and somebody else. I don't know who. And I'm looking at Annie and Caroline. And I'm telling them, like, guys, like, I know you guys are women, so I know you guys experienced this. And I'm wearing regular shoes. And Annie, you're wearing these like snakeskin boots.
Yeah, the boots, yeah.
But my feet fucking hurt so bad.
You took your shoes off?
No, I didn't. I Uber Eats Epsom salt to the hotel. And when I got back, you see, I got a brush because I left my brush at home, and I got the Dr. Teal's or whatever.
You Epsom salt your feet?
Oh,
How do I feel today?
I put that shit in the tub. I soaked in the tub for 15 minutes, like, because my back was bothering me too.
How do you feel?
So I woke up and I felt a little.
You go in there this morning too?
Oh, I woke up this morning. I didn't really drink anything last night, but I felt hungover.
You did not, no.
No. So
also the line was also extremely long to get a drink.
I felt hungover last night, or this morning, even though I didn't drink anything. I had that one drink at the Debbie party, but other than that, I didn't. And so I felt, and like I talked to Lindsay on the phone, and my voice was like,
oh yeah. And
I was like, oh shit. I was like, this is going to be so it was kind of a wake it up day. I don't drink a lot of caffeine, but I had like what is equal to a cup of coffee. Caffeine wise, pretty wild.
I actually thought about 5 minutes. I'm gonna go upstairs and get a coffee after this. Yeah, I try to get through. I don't drink. So, I do caffeine. I mean, it's not a bad thing, but like I will have some caffeine. There's no lunch though.
Yes.
Just straight in, yeah. There's no lunch though here, which always sucks. They don't have food for us.
So what's actually crazy is that I've learned I take a little bit of a break and I go back in the middle of the day and then come back out.
Yeah, I thought about going in between, but because I'm not on to one. I still have one more schmooze to do, like with a boss somewhere. So
which boss?
Probably Westwood one. I actually don't work for him, but I have one more schmooze left to do.
You know, Mitch just walked by. Are you talking about Bruce?
Bruce. I don't know Bruce.
You don't know Bruce?
I know Armin, who's their new program director.
If I see Bruce, I'll introduce you. Bruce is a great guy. If I see Bruce, I'll introduce you to him.
Yeah, Bruce. We had like this. They want to hire me. It just didn't work out well.
I talked to Bruce last night for a little bit at the volume party.
It's it was an affiliate thing. Like some other work I do is like a whole thing, but such as this.
Well, basically, they told Geoff Schwartz that if we're going to hire you, you can't work with Jared Stillman anymore.
That's what they did. Yeah, no chance. No, they're fine with Sirius. It's satellite radio. It's terrestrial radio jobs I do. They were more worried about,
like the Fox Sports radio job. Well, in fairness, isn't that kind of like?
I make a lot of money doing that show.
Do you?
Yeah, Fox Sports radio. It's sponsored. That's why it's gambling sponsored. So I'm gonna hop over to the Westwood one. Maybe I'll say hi to Costas is right there. Say hi to Rome for a quick second. I've listened to Rome my entire life.
You know what's funny is years ago, Eli Drinkowitz, the Missouri football coach, went on Rome and took a shot at the Tennessee Volunteers program. And Caroline was basically like, and Caroline was like 22, 23 at the time. And Caroline was basically like, who the fuck is Jim Rome? And I'm like, Caroline. I'm like, Jim Rome, like, you don't understand because she was born in 97.
Oh, she's youngin'.
So I'm like, Caroline, you do not understand that Jim Rome was the man in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay, I have a Jim Rome story for you. So I listen to Jim Rome, and a buddy in Oregon on the offense line also listens to Jim Rome every day. And in 2007, we were really good. We were up second in the country, and we had 3 straight weeks where we had someone on the show. It was like our head coach was week 1, I think. Then it was Jonathan Stewart, our running back, who's over here for a second. And then it was like Dennis Dixon. And we told the last guy, tell Rome that there's some clones on the offensive line. Okay. So he told Jim Rome that. And Jim said, if you guys win this weekend, we were number 6. Arizona was number 4. Like we were 8-1 or 7-1. If you beat Arizona State, national TV game, game day, all that stuff, the offensive line can come on the show next week. If you beat Arizona State, we go on the show. So it's like there's like 4 offensive linemen in the show. It's a little bit like awkward-ish, but we get through the show. And at the very end, my buddy Jeff Kendall goes, hey, Rome, I got something to say. He did a 5-minute rant, like prepared everything.
On Rome?
Rome racked him, which was awesome. And then we lost the next game, of course. So he put him in his year-end special as like a loser call. It was awesome. He went a 5-minute. It's on YouTube. Went a 5-minute rant. Got racked. It was awesome. It was so much fun. Jeff was like holding the paper, like kind of shaking as he's reading this.
Is that Martha Stewart right over there?
Who?
Martha Stewart.
I don't know the back of Martha Stewart.
Hold on, wait for Martha to turn. Sports Illustrated is right by us, and they're doing like a bunch of like Q&As with random ass people, and I'm pretty sure that's Martha Stewart.
That's Martha Stewart?
I think so. Just yell Martha and see if she turns.
Martha. No, it's not. No.
Is it Martha? I told you it was Martha.
Oh, you should scream her name and figure it out?
Yeah, and then they turned around like, what's that? I told you that was Martha Stewart.
She turned her head a little bit, though, like a little tidbit when you yelled her name.
I'm like, and then I asked the guy over there, I was like, is that Martha Stewart? And he gave us the shake, like, yeah, that's
this is one of those where, like, all the PR people are here, right? Look how many PR people there are.
Martha is rolling deep.
What do you think she's promoting?
I'll give you $100 right now if you just go over there and say, Martha, you got any stock tips?
I'm not doing that. No,
$200.
Not worth it.
Do you think you'll get kicked out if you do that?
Yes.
No.
They would tell someone something. Let's see. My wife just texted me and see what it's about. I love when John always like, I'm at work. Oh, it's about snow again.
Text her, say we're right by Martha Stewart. Tell her, hey, we are right now. They're like, I could give a rat's ass about Martha Stewart. A couple of years ago, it was Friday at Radio Row, and there was nobody here because everybody had all packed up and left. And Lawrence Taylor was just walking around. And I did want to go to LT and say, hey, LT, you want to come on in Nashville? Any chance of you hopping on in Nashville? But I didn't have the balls to ask LT that. Plus, LT probably wouldn't have done it.
LT stories are very fun to listen to about him as like a player. They're incredible. Like,
hey, he's spent time in the slammer too, just like Martha.
Not to get political, but Martha going to jail and then like nobody who does the exact same thing as her going to jail is wild to me. Like, so
you're a Martha defender?
No, if you do a crime, you have to do the punishment, right? Is that how it goes?
Martha's here pumping Pepsi.
Is that what she's doing?
I guess. I didn't take Martha to be a Pepsi drinker. I thought she'd be more like a Fresca drinker.
Maybe it's the same. There's like 2 companies that bottle all the sodas.
I know, but I would say like with Martha Stewart, I kind of feel personally
I'm surprised at Pepsi because NFL's a Coke league.
No, NFL's a Pepsi league.
Was it Pepsi now? It was Coke. It used to be Pepsi.
It's the Pepsi halftime show.
Yes, you're right.
It
used to be Coke.
There's Pepsis everywhere around here.
Because,
in fact, it's in the Bid City report. It's in the Bid City report that if you bid on it, like say you have Coca-Cola in your stadium, you gotta take it out and put in Pepsi for the Super Bowl. That's just the way it goes. Last one for you, Geoff Schwartz with us here on the program. So, you see that giant banner of Sam Darnold over there?
Yes.
So first thing I said to you, Geoff Schwartz was encapsulated all of you people out there that spent all year telling me Sam Darnold sucked and Sam Darnold was going to choke in the playoffs.
I know.
Sam Darnold was. Do you think Sam Darnold is going to choke on Sunday?
I do not. No, I don't. He really hasn't most of the season. Hasn't, right? Played bad the first Rams game. Second Rams game, he threw 2 interceptions the first half. They played really well down the stretch. We were texting during that game.
Right. That was the game where he cleaned off his undies at halftime and really slayed his demons.
And then he played great in the last game. I think that the Colts mascot's right there. It's a weird NFL mascot's blue. I think he'll play fine.
Do you think that my take that the Patriots aren't really all that good and that the Seahawks will dog walk them is overblown, or do you think it's fair?
Aaron Schatz, dude does DVOA. I think he's at ESPN now. I think since 1970, he ranked all the Super Bowl teams, and they were 81 out of like 96. Not very good. Not very good.
Patrick Surtain said 35-7. You think
that's fair? I have 24-13. Seattle.
24-13. See, I think it'll be like that.
Yeah.
Again, that was the Colts Bears Super Bowl was not like 100-0.
And that was also a kickoff return touchdown was in that game, too.
I know, that's embarrassing. I think that same year, both the Colts won the championship in football after a kickoff return for a touchdown. And I believe in the national championship game, Ted Ginn Jr. returned a kickoff for a touchdown, and Florida beat the shit out of Ohio State.
Sounds about right.
If you get an opening kickoff for a touchdown and you lose, you stink.
Absolutely. That's such a huge game changer.
Like
a free 7-point start the game with.
Like Seattle would have beaten San Francisco no matter what, but once Seattle started up 7-0, it was like fucking this game is fucking over. Do you think that what do you think it'll be like for me if Vrabel wins the Super Bowl after all the shit I've talked in Boston?
I think you have to cut your thing off.
I did not make that. I did not
make that. You had a good joke
that.
the other day. We said
he'll cut off 6 inches, and he'll give the other half to.
Yeah, I'll cut off half and leave her with 6 inches. You know, one thing about this week too is like you see these influencers walking around, and the question I have is like, who are they influencing at the Super Bowl? Like, are there fans like, wow, this person's at the Super Bowl, I'm going to buy the product they're here to influence?
I don't think there's been a single product that has been purchased because somebody did a Super Bowl spot for it. And I don't mean like the commercials. People do watch the commercials.
Like here.
But I like no one is buying a Pepsi because Martha Stewart just went to the Sports Illustrated video booth. I don't even know who watches those videos and talked about how Martha Stewart drinks Pepsi.
What do you think she says about that? It's a little sweeter than Coke.
Are you a Pepsi guy or a Coke guy?
I don't care. I just drink Diet. I mean, Diet Pepsi's a little sweeter, but like a Diet Coke, like from a McDonald's with ice.
So I am. Hey, it's Jamie Swinson. I am very pro Pepsi in the Pepsi Coke. Now, I like Sprite, and I always drink the 0-calorie stuff, even though it's still bad for you. But I drink the 0-calorie stuff. I like Sprite more than Starry.
Yes, I like Fresca too.
I like Fresca. I think Fresca is actually, of like all the sodas, probably the best one for you.
Maybe.
We have Fresca at our
no caffeine.
We do like I don't drink a lot of caffeine, so it's like caffeine-free diet soda.
I'm not gonna. There's Diet Pepsi upstairs. I might go grab one right now with some ice.
It's a little bit sweeter than Diet Coke.
Yeah. So
you would say that you're a Pepsi? I'm a Pepsi guy.
No, I don't care. I'll drink whatever. I'll buy whatever's cheapest. Very Jewish of me.
You said it, not me. Even though I'm Jewish, you can say that.
That's why I said it. I have repeated your championship Scottish thing to a few people.
The broadcaster Scottish,
and they absolutely love it.
Like, let's say that the Seahawks are just smoking the shit out of the Patriots on Sunday night.
Collinsworth is going to go right to it.
Oh, Tarico Collinsworth.
He'll be like, Mike,
They'll be like, and that's a handoff to Kenneth Walker, gains about 4. Chris, this is going to be a tough one for all of New England to swallow. They've won 6 Super Bowls in the past. This is going to be a tough one, but year 1 under Coach Vrabel, Drake May, year 2, a lot to be proud of. Yeah, Mike, it is one of those things where it's always tough to lose in the Super Bowl. And it's always tough to get here, and it's going to be really tough next year for them to get back.
But Drake May was second.
They got a lot to build on for next year. We call that the broadcaster Scottish because when somebody dies, we pray the mourner's Scottish for them. And so to me, that's the broadcaster Scottish. Jeff, good to see you, brother.
Yes, you too. I love the very niche.
We continue on here from Radio Row at the Super Bowl. Okay. I teased a surprise. And for you Stillman and Company people out there, I appreciate the fact that when it comes to this surprise, I think you guys have been loyal with me. I think you guys understand it. I think I hinted at this a little bit, but we're now going to make the surprise official. And I am pleased and excited to be joined by Braun Husenstam, who is the CEO of the Believe, BLEAV podcast network. Because something that we haven't really talked about much on the show, but recently the Stillman and Company program has partnered with Believe as far as our YouTube channel has grown and everything else. And so we're here making, I guess, an official announcement to add the Stillman and Company program to the Believe network. Braun, first of all, thank you for allowing us to be on the network and for helping us out here at Radio Row and everything else. But man, I see the signs, 40 million podcast downloads. I see all over social media. Oh, hey, look, there's a Chargers discussion on Believe. Oh, look, there's a Cleveland Cavaliers discussion on Believe. Oh, look, there's an NFL discussion. Oh, look, there's an incredible Ohio State Buckeyes show on Believe. There's so many shows. You guys really have built this from scratch, and I am glad to be a part of it, and I'm glad to have you here with us.
Well, thank you very much for that. One of the reasons we wanted to work with you is, did you hear that introduction? He didn't even breathe. That was incredible. So when we have hosts that are as talented as you, it hopefully sells itself. And that's really always been the goal. We set out, and he's walked by here a bunch of times with Ryan Leaf and I was looking for a spot for him to start podcasting. Mm-hmm. And for those of the people out there that aren't in this industry, like everybody thinks, oh, how do I get on local radio? Well, you got to start on the board, work years, move to North Texas, bounce around, move markets. It's hard. There's not enough microphones for everybody. And for the athletes, especially, you think like, oh, that guy played for the Jets. There may be like 3 athletes that played for the Jets that have jobs. And every year, 15 guys retire that played for the Jets. So where are they supposed to go? And we really saw this wave coming of this new technology when we started 7 years ago, that you could now go direct to consumer. Those gatekeepers, those radio program managers, the casting directors at television, you no longer had to just wait and hope that they selected you. You could get on the mic, work hard, build up your own audience, and be rewarded for it. And so we saw that coming. And so Ryan and I sat down and said, well, what would you need to be successful at this? And it was a couple of check boxes. And now we feel like we have about 75 check boxes in order to make people successful. And we work with 800 hosts, about 500 shows. We're one of 2 networks that has a show for every team with Locked On. And we just love it. We're massive sports fans. And I love that someone like yourself that's so good is able to then take what you're doing. And I'm never going to tell you to shut up. I can't. It's your show, right? Sure. So I just want to help you be the best version of you. And as long as we always have that at the North Star and you're successful and we're successful at helping you be successful, then everybody wins.
I think when I moved off radio and into this space, I knew in my head as I was going through a contract negotiation with the radio that if it didn't work out, I was going to pivot kind of in this direction. I didn't exactly know how I was going to pivot in this direction. And a buddy of mine, Matt Collar, who hosts Purple Insider, which covers the Vikings.
Sure, great.
He's got his show with Believe. And so he was talking to me about, so I have a deal with Believe. He said that he talks to Cam. I'm like, I know Cam Rogers because I've been to the Super Bowl. And
everybody knows Cam
I've
Rogers.
had Ryan Leaf on the show. I've had tons of Believe hosts on in the past. And I'm like, wow, this is really, I don't want to say easy, but it was very easy to connect it. And I think that's the one thing that I would tell people about this network is, as far as getting up and going, when I started here, I kind of knew, technologically how to do it. I knew how to host a show, but there's so many tips, advice. There's an entire team behind it that really focuses on, okay, let's make this show the best it can be and let's support it, not let's have you work for us and us tell you exactly what to do. And that I like.
Yeah, and that's great. And thank you for that. Look, it's a bell curve of content creators, right? You look at that one person who's got 2 million followers and they've done it all themselves. And then there's other people that are fantastic who can't open a computer, right? And so when you look at those two sides, it just, for us, we look at it as how much help do you need? But it's got to be done in a business structure where both parties are successful.
Sure.
If I go to business, I can't help anybody, right? So you really have to thread that needle on how much help is too much help, which sinks the company, and how much help is not enough help, which the host can never get going, right? Because the reality is selling ads is hard. And as a single host to email Coca-Cola, I mean, good luck, right?
Right.
But as a network, as an organization with professionals, with real relationships, selling millions and millions of downloads, you get those meetings. And if we can get in Coca-Cola, or for this case, FanDuel, which is part of both of us, which is a wonderful partner that we love working with. -4 on the Seahawks if you're interested in logging into FanDuel right now.
By the way, I would lay 10. If the number was 10, I would lay 10.
Well, there you go. They're underselling. That's a great partner. Free money. You really just need to be able to bounce ideas, to work as a team. And look, all businesses go through that, right? Economies of scale is the big business buzz. You share accountants, you share salespeople, and being around a lot of other like minds, you can still sell on your own, but there is going to be that national level where how do you get to the FanDuels and that? You're much more valuable as a group with a bigger number than you are on your own.
You know, I was talking to Ryan Leaf about this earlier today because we all know the story of Ryan's career and everything else. And I said, you know,
Ryan Leaf, like this massive second overall pick that's standing just over my left shoulder.
First ever game I went to, I swear to you, I was in the 8th grade, or no, excuse me, I was in the 3rd grade. I was 8 years old. The San Diego Chargers visited the Tennessee Oilers at Vanderbilt. And my dad took me to the game, and Ryan Leaf and the Chargers beat the Oilers that day. And I told my dad it was like 99 degrees out there. And I said, I'm not coming back until the new stadium. Stadium sucks. Right. Team sucks. I'm out. But that's my Ryan Leaf story.
Ryan Leaf shut you down.
But I was chatting with him earlier, and I said, you know what's crazy is if he didn't want to be involved in the game, if he didn't want to host shows, if he didn't want to, he wouldn't. But it's that love of the game. And I feel that with a lot of – that's it. With a lot of content creators, and I feel like what the Believe Network offers people, Braun, is like, if you really love the game, you love it so much. There are a lot of people that like to have shows to say that, oh, I have a show.
Sure.
But I think the people that really dig in on this, it's like an art thing. It's, hey, this is what I have these feelings inside, these opinions about teams, the way the game ended. I have this reaction, and I want to put it out there like an artist on the canvas. And that's what I feel like this network allows people to do.
And appreciate that. And it really comes down to also return on investment, right? It's that old, again, business additive where, you know, do what you love and you never work a day in your life. It is very rewarding to be able to be financially secure with something you love. Mm-hmm. And if talking about sports is something you love and you can do it full time and pay the bills and raise a family and everything that goes with that, that's wonderful. And that's obviously what we want to contribute because it's hard. It's hard to make money as a creator, and it's really hard to sell ads. And so for us, it's always about like that path to that. And not everyone can achieve that, but you can still do it for a lot of reasons because you love it. You know, you can make $50 a month and be the happiest host ever, right? And that's wonderful. And we're good with that too. But speaking of endings, Washington State had 1 second left against Michigan in the Rose Bowl. That was BS. If that happened today, they would have reviewed it, and Ryan would have had one more pass from the 20-yard line into the end zone.
By the way, Ryan came on my show last year when I was doing local radio, and he was like, if the Titans decide to dump on Will Levis and get a new quarterback, it's going to be a nightmare for them. And they were the worst team in the league. And I said to him, I said, hey, dude got it right.
I think when we talked about Brian Callahan taking that Titans job, sometimes you just can't survive the rebuild. And fans want to win today, but a lot goes into an NFL team. Some of the teams are just bad, and it doesn't matter who the coach is, and it takes time. And in baseball and basketball, they'll give you 3, 4, 5 years to build it up. They will not do that in football because there's been too many teams that has turned it around in a year. I mean, look at New England this year, but that was a best case scenario that $100 million plus in cap space. You get a second-year quarterback coming in who was the third, fourth pick in the draft. Like that's how you turn it around. It's not getting to a team that's got nothing and just magically making them good, because got to tell the fans this sometime. The other team also has professionals.
Yeah.
They also have the best coaches in the world. And sometimes Cam Hayward just puts his hand in the air and knocks a pass down. Doesn't mean it wasn't the perfect play. It doesn't mean the quarterback sucks. Doesn't mean the coach doesn't know what he's doing. It's an odd-shaped ball and a really fun sport played with the best athletes in the world, and that's why we all love it.
The last one for you, the people don't know this about you, Braun Huisenstam. He is the CEO of Believe, which, of course, the Stillman Company program is proud to partner with. You live in Tennessee.
I do.
Most people don't know that.
I do.
In fact, I started talking to Braun
Tennessee, y'all.
because Braun was the only other person apparently on the planet with me who wanted Arthur Smith to be the coach of the Titans.
That's right. No lies told. It's the best OC in the history of the Titans. It's got the most points scored as an OC in the history of the Tennessee Titans. Also the 8th best game, I believe, in yards per play in NFL history as an OC for the Titans. And as a winning offensive coordinator, even as a head coach, if you take all of his seasons, he is a winner as an offensive coordinator. And I just thought it was bringing the prodigal son home. And you might not think that, but that's the way that I see it. And I'm going to stand by that because I've watched every game.
The one thing I will say, and I love Arthur Smith, and that I couldn't understand the Titan fans that are like, oh, Arthur's offense. I'm like, Arthur was the best coordinator they ever had. But what's up with the mustache? I mean, is he like going for the Vrabel thing when Vrabel tried out the mustache and it worked? Like, what?
I think he looks great with that mustache.
Do you?
Absolutely.
Uh-huh. No lies told. Braun Husenstam, the CEO of Believe. Braun, thank you so much again. Thanks for having us. And again, thanks. We love partnering with you, and we're very, very excited.
Appreciate it, Jared. And just everybody out there watching, if every team had a host this good, it would be even more beneficial for us as a company. So feel excited that you've got somebody that believes in your team that can deliver the messages in this way, because not everybody does. So it's fantastic when that partnership all runs itself correctly like that.
You're going to make me cry. Braun Husenstam. Braun, thanks, man.
Thanks, Jared.
Okay. Special thanks to Braun, and special thanks to everybody who's been on it. Special thanks to Believe, because I've been here, again, partners now on the program, but have been here all week. The NFL originally was like, no, we don't know if we can get Stillman and Company in, and Braun and Believe, they were like, no, we want Stillman and Company here, and I couldn't be more grateful and thankful for that. Okay. Six-pack picks, abysmal this season, so I'm just going to make the Super Bowl pick, and then we'll divvy it up at the end of the year. Seattle 28, New England 10. I think the game will be a blowout. It won't be the kind of blowout where it's like, stop it, you're hurting them too bad. But every time we think, oh, New England's going to get back in the game, they're not going to do it. I listened to what Pro Football Doc said earlier in the week about Drake May's shoulder. I think there's probably something to that. Sam Darnold, I think, is going to throw for 226 yards. And I think 130 of them are going to Smith and Jigba. So I think Smith and Jigba is going to be your game MVP, because Sam never gets the credit. I obviously am rooting for Sam Darnold. I am rooting against Vrabel. We'll have a Super Bowl party, so I don't know if I'll be going on live after the game or if we'll save it all for Monday. But I want to thank everybody who liked and subscribed. I want to remind you to like and subscribe. And I want to tell you about Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. They are the proud presenting sponsor of this program. They have been with us pretty much since the beginning. They've been with me for years. They take great care of my home. They can do the same for you. Family owned and operated since 1990. Let Hiller take great care of your home. True transparency pricing means you're not going to get screwed. They're going to be honest. And that's important to Hiller. So go to happyhiller.com. That's where I book, and call the Happy Face truck today. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Proud supporters, the Preds, the Vols, and Vandy. That's Hiller. Call the Happy Face truck today. From Radio Row, thank you all for a great week. Thank you, Warren Moon. Thank you, Mad Dog Russo. Thank you, Geoff Schwartz. Thank you, Braun. Thank you, everybody. Stillman and Company. Enjoy the game on Sunday.